All right, well, welcome everybody and good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning as we discuss supports that are available both in the school setting and community for our students, as well as signs and symptoms of anxiety and depression. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole Bazilla and I'm the District's Director of Pupil Services. With me this morning are numerous school counselors, our student assistance counselors, school nurses, our social workers, school psychologists, and in addition to our school staff, joining us are representatives from Glade Run and Holy Family. This presentation this morning is being recorded, so families unable to attend have access to the resources shared, and families in attendance may refer back to the presentation if needed. We will have an opportunity for questions at the end of the presentation, but please remember it is recorded and personal questions about your child should be directed directly to the school staff outside of the presentation. I would like to introduce this morning Ms. Nicole Weber, our curriculum leader of the school counseling department, to get us started.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Bazilla. I did want to take some time, especially for any parents who may not be aware of who their specific child's counselor is, so that you can make contact if you feel that you need to. So for the high school team, if your student is in grades 9 or 10, depending on their last name, A through L would be Mrs. Dove, and M through Z is myself, Ms. Weber. If your child is in grade 11 or 12, it would also depend on their last name, same division. A through L would be Dr. Barkovich, M through Z would be Mrs. Davis. We also have Mrs. Bradley, who will be presenting a little bit later. She is our student assistance counselor and helps all of our high school students. We also have Mr. Greathouse, who is a social worker, and he covers students district-wide, actually, last names between A and K. And Mr. McDowell is our other social worker, and he also covers the entire district with last names L through Z. We also have 2 school psychologists, Dr. Stevenson, and she covers students' last names A through K, and Dr. Kiselica, and she covers students' last names L through Z. We also have Ms. Lepore, who is our Holy Family Student Assistance Liaison. She provides screening, and we'll have her talk a little bit about her role in a while. And Mrs. Snyder, who is the director for the Glade Run School-Based Therapy program, and she will talk a little bit about the School-Based Therapy program. So the middle school team, so a little bit different. We are going to have Mrs. McElhaney. She was previously one of our elementary counselors. Now she is our grade 6 counselor. Mr. Tarabishi, who is for grade 7. Mrs. File, who is for grade 8. Mr. Ratnaval is similar to who we have, Mrs. Rabley, for the student assistance counselor, so helps all students at the middle school level, and he'll talk a little bit additionally. Again, Mr. Greathouse and Mr. McDowell is the social workers, the school psychologist, Dr. Stevens and Dr. Kasilica, and Mrs. Lepore and Mrs. Snyder. So that team works with both the middle school and the high school. So I'd now like to introduce Mrs. April Rabley so that she can talk about the school counseling role.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mrs. Rabley. I'm the student assistance counselor. We're going to talk today about school counseling kind of versus the student assistance counseling. School counselors provide counseling during all the school day, and Mr. Ratnaval and I see all students as well as the students that we're going to talk about that need consent for the program. We're available to all students via classroom lessons, small groups, and individual sessions. Most of the counseling is brief solution-focused sessions that are short-term, and we'll get into later more details of how that is different than therapy and our school-based therapy. We link students and families to myself and Mr. Ratnaval with the student assistance program, where again, consent is needed, and we connect more resources and outside support and services. And in general, we act as liaisons between the school, mental health provider, and other agencies. And I think Mr. Ratnaval is actually going to go over the student assistance program. Ms. Weber.
So what is the student assistance program? Again, I'm Mr. Ratnaval, middle school student assistance coordinator, and we've been fortunate. North Hills has had the program for well over 20 years. It's a wonderful program which is basically made up of a variety of staff and agencies to help find services for students within the community, as well as resources to link them to. So we address any concerns students experience as barriers to learning. The team is made up of the assistant principals, the nurse, all grade level counselors in the building, as well as the resource officers and our student assistance liaison, which is Ms. Lepore, that will be talking shortly. The team doesn't diagnose or offer treatment in the sense that we basically provide resources and supports for students and families as they go through some challenges. Once the student has been identified, they will be provided an opportunity for a screening that is done free of charge through Holy Family Institute. And then from there, they receive direction and support and resources of further resources for the students and the families during that time. So why is the student referred? Well, basically any barriers to academic, social, and emotional success. Obviously during this trying times, there are a lot of challenges that everybody's facing. Everything's new in the sense of learning as well as being isolated and dealing with just the day-to-day middle school, high school issues only are compounded by during this time. So when we talk about it, we're talking about any changes to what the person's baseline is, whether it be academic struggles, behavior changes, social concerns, loss of friendship groups or changes in their friendship groups, any emotional concerns, family changes, family losses, any mental health or medical concerns that may arise, as well as experience of trauma or self-injury, suicide ideation, or drug and alcohol concerns. Obviously, with everything going on right now, it's a trying time for everybody to deal with some of the challenges that are ahead of us. And we've seen an increase in the number of referrals, and we're here to support families and students during this time. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Rabley, the high school counselor. And just real quick, both the SAP counselors have background in mental health experience prior to coming to schools. Go ahead, April.
Again, Mr. Ratnaval and I are the student assistance counselors, and we work with the other grade level counselors and teachers to identify and support students experiencing personal stressors that can impede the student's school performance and negatively impact their social and emotional well-being. And again, I did want to note all the students in both buildings have access to us to come see us during the day, email us, now Zoom with us. So the process that we're talking about is specific in that there are consents necessary for the additional supports and services, and the parents and families are included. So just to expand upon what Mr. Ratnaval said, how are students identified? So it's recognizing or any reports from teachers or staff of any changes in the students' behaviors, academic, behavioral, or social emotional changes and concerns. The teachers actually fill out a Google referral form, and some things on that referral form, besides the student's name and grade and their counselor, and things like the course, would be the student's strengths, any behavioral concerns, things like sleeping in class, a change in hygiene, emotional swings, anything that, like Mr. Ratnaval said, any change from a baseline that a teacher or staff, a parent notices, and then also academic concerns, where you see a big difference in performance. There's also parents can email or call with a referral, and students also self-refer themselves for additional support. So again, how are students referred? They can by parent, self, or staff, and then the counselor will fill out that referral form. What happens next? So Mr. Ratnaval and I will communicate with the referring person, counselor, or staff. We'll determine a plan. We'll send home consent forms to the parent or guardian, and then we'll communicate with our SAP liaison, who will then perform the screening, and they'll talk about that in a little bit. And then based on that recommendation, oftentimes school-based therapy is offered. Sometimes it's outside resources. The forms that we send home are the Holy Family Screening Consent Form and the Glade Run School-Based Therapy Consent Form. And then we do meet weekly with our SAP team, and we adjust the support and services as necessary. So we review how the student's doing. Does anything else need to be put in place? Has the student or teacher or parent come forward and come up with any other resources that might be needed to support the student to ensure success? And there's our email and phone numbers if you would need to reach myself or Mr. Ratneval. And Liz Lepore is our Holy Family Institute SAP liaison for the high school that completes the screening. So I'd like to introduce Mrs. Liz Lepore.
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm Liz Lepore from Holy Family. I'm the Student Assistant Liaison Coordinator. And just a quick breakdown of what this looks like. This is a program offered through your school just to support your student, to break down any barriers for emotional or academic success. And we're just trying to get them through the school year as gracefully as possible and with the most success that they can have. The process looks as has been described. The families provide consent. A screening, a date, and a time is scheduled. I would typically call the parents to gather any supportive information, and then the liaison talks to the guardian. After that, they talk to the student one-on-one. And in this time, we can either do it virtually or we could do it in person if or when the students get back to school, whichever the student is more comfortable with. We review the supports and the level of support that would be necessary to see success from the student. And we provide community resources to support the student. And how that looks is we make many recommendations at the level of care or the level of support that we think is necessary. And then we follow up with the family and the student as well as the parents to see if that support is a success, if it's a good match. The main goal is to connect the students and the families to as many community resources that would see them through this time, especially these uncertain times, successfully. I always remind everybody that we are all in this storm together. However, we all are in our own boats, and how we maintain our boats is up to us through this pandemic, and it will also determine how successful we get through this unusual times. So thank you, and please inquire about the program because it is very supportive for not only the students, but the families to have a successful school year. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Ms. Snyder to talk about our Glade Run School-Based Services.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Snyder. I am the program manager for Glade Run Lutheran Services for the school-based mental health program in Allegheny County. So as you may or may not know, Glade Run Lutheran Services has partnered with the North Hills School District to be the mental health provider. We have provided services for the past several years, and we do offer these services in all the schools currently. Also at the hub in the Westview area, as well as via telehealth. The next several slides here are introductions to the therapists that currently provide these services in your buildings. I will not read these for you, but there is a picture and a bio for each therapist for you to look at your leisure. And then there is a specific breakdown here that shows which therapist is in which building. You will see our therapists do overlap some of the buildings for continuity of care to meet the needs of the students in the district. So you can see we currently have 2 therapists that are at McIntyre Elementary, 2 at Highcliff, 2 at Westview, a handful at the middle school, and 3 at the high school. The therapists that have been in your district have been here pretty much since we started services. So that continuity is there, and we just continue to add as services increase. So what is school-based mental health? This refers to the mental health services for school-age youth addressing social, emotional, and behavioral health, along with the ability to cope with life's changes. These services are also offered during the day, and they can continue through the summer months. Sorry, go back one to school-based therapy. School-based therapy teaches ways of dealing with stressful life events and circumstances. A counselor helps individuals analyze and respond to the pressures he or she may face or put upon themselves. They can help your child improve communication skills and show them ways to cope when life gets hard. School-based therapy can include group therapy, family therapy, and individual therapy. The Glade Run therapists work closely with the students and families, as well as the school counselors, to find the best time during each student's day to provide their therapy sessions.
Apologies, I thought that I had this slide better. So I do apologize that these aren't all showing the way they were supposed to.
There are many different groups available, and that is really based off of the need in the school, based off of the referrals that come in and what is needed. Earlier in the presentation, the school counselor's role was reviewed. So here I'd like to explain to you the role of the therapist and how it differs. We work very closely with the school counselors and the SAP liaisons to best meet the needs of the students we serve. The therapist will work collaboratively with each student and their families to complete a psychosocial assessment and develop a treatment plan to address all areas of concern. From there, the therapist will provide a mental health diagnosis and determine a course of treatment. Therapists use evidence-based therapeutic modalities and interventions. At Glade Run, we pride ourselves on open communication. So the therapists collaborate regularly with all outside providers as well as all members of the treatment team. These services will be billed through your insurance, which we thoroughly discussed with you during your first phone conversation. So I think the biggest difference here is this is more of long-term treatment based on that very specific treatment plan with the diagnosis. So next, I'd like to just touch on anxiety here. What is anxiety? It's persistent or extreme forms of fear. As you can see here, anxiety can take on a variety of symptoms. Listed are the 6 main symptoms: sleep disturbance, restlessness, muscle tension, fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. For some teens, however, anxiety can go beyond typical symptoms to negatively affect friendships, family relationships, participation in extracurricular activities, and even their schoolwork. Often, anxiety interferes with normal daily living. You know your child best, so if you feel that your child is exhibiting some signs of anxiety or seem unlike themselves, please reach out to your school counselor. Depression and signs of depression. So depression is a mood disorder that causes distressing symptoms that can affect how you feel, think, and handle daily activities, such as eating, sleeping, and working. Occasionally being sad or feeling hopeless is part of every teen's life. However, some teens feel sad or uninterested in things that they used to enjoy, or feel helpless or hopeless in situations they are able to change. Listed here are the common signs of depression: irritability or anger, continuous feelings of sadness and hopelessness, social withdrawal, increased sensitivity to rejection, change in appetite, either increased or decreased, changes in sleep, sleeplessness or excessive sleeping, vocal outbursts or crying, difficulty concentrating, fatigue and low energy, physical complaints such as stomach ache, headache that does not respond to treatment, reduced ability to function during events and activities at home or with friends, in school, extracurricular activities, and other hobbies and interests, the feeling of worthlessness or guilt, impaired thinking or concentration, and thoughts of death or suicide. You know, as Mr. Ratnaval mentioned earlier, the situation we are currently in is very difficult. It's very difficult for everyone. So please know that these symptoms are not all-encompassing. So you need to take into account your child's day-to-day behaviors. And if you feel that your teen is experiencing symptoms for 2 weeks or longer, you should contact your school counselor and seek professional help. So how do we determine treatment and diagnosis? Glade Run therapists complete assessments at intake to develop baselines and throughout treatment. These assessments are used as screening tools, an aid in diagnosing, as symptom tracking tools to help keep track of the patient's overall symptom severity, as well as to track the improvement of specific symptoms with treatment. The three main assessments used are the GAD-7, which is the generalized anxiety disorder. And this is useful in primary care and mental health settings as a screening tool and symptom severity measure for the 4 most common anxiety disorders, which include general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social phobia, and post-traumatic stress disorder. The PHQ-9 depression scale is the patient health questionnaire, and it's a brief 9-item self-reporting screening tool that may help identify symptoms that could relate to depression. The PHQ-9 has an adult and teen version. It is one of the most validated tools in the mental health and can be a powerful tool to assist clinicians in diagnosing depression and monitoring treatment response. And last, the Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale is a questionnaire used for a suicide assessment developed by multiple institutions. This scale is evidence supported and is part of the national and international public health initiative involving assessment of suicidality. If you would like your child referred for school-based mental health services, please reach out to your school counselor and they can provide you with the referral. And lastly, Glade Run does offer a continuum of care. And again, we work collaboratively with the child in services, the parents, the school team to make sure that your child is in the appropriate level of care and meet their needs the best that we can. If this is not accurate, we will refer them to the appropriate level to get them what they need. And we have these services in home schools and in the community. Thank you.
Okay. Then the question and answer session. I didn't miss anything, did I, Amy?
I don't think so.
Okay. So question and answer session, we do have one hand that's raised. So I'm going to go ahead and allow that person to, oops, actually they just took their hand back down. So again, if you do have a question, now all you have to do is go ahead and hit raise hand, and we can call on you. You'll be allowed to speak. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question, or if you want to wait and just talk individually with your counselor, that is perfectly fine as well. So you can reach out to us, via email, phone. We can schedule Zoom meetings, whatever works best for you. So I'll give a minute just to see if anyone's hand pops up. Okay. Well, one thing that Mr. Ratnaval did provide with us was a really nice video that he provides us for some of his students, talking about different ways to help with coping and stress that cover every piece of the alphabet. So if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and end with that video.
Can I say one thing real quick before you start?
Absolutely.
So just so everybody's aware, the grade level counselors as well as the SAP counselors do a lot of classroom lessons. We try to be as visible as possible around the school, whether it be at duties, in the hallways, activities, doing classroom lessons and programs like this. So this is actually a short video, and it basically in going into I was in 8th grade health classes right before the holiday break, and talking about dealing with a lot of things going on in terms of just regular schooling, organization, keeping in a routine and things of that nature, but also focusing on themselves in terms of coping skills and dealing with stress. This is something that I found helpful for not only kids, but for me personally, and I think when you see it, you see what I mean. Talks about basically self-care and mindfulness. At the same time, it's a video that's actually from the UK. So there's the one resource that they put on there, and I preface this when I talk to the kids, that you should reach out to your, sorry, that's our bell schedule. Reach out to your counselors in the school as well as in the community, which we have, it's on our website as well. But it's, I hope you enjoy the video. And again, as other counselors said, please reach out to us if you have any questions or any concerns or anything that we can help you with. We work as a community together and as a team for your family and your kids.
Thank you.
Nicole, there's no sound.
That is odd because I can hear it. Let me see if I can.
If I take my earbuds out. Can you hear me still?
Watch TV, play a game, or read a book.
Can you hear it now?
When you feel calmer, you will be more able to tackle the distressing thoughts and feelings. E is for exercise. Get moving. Run around or do some sport. Go to the park or playground and have some fun. F, friends and family. Friends and family are important. Spend time with the people that make you feel happy. G is for goal setting. Break tasks down into small steps. Focus on one at a time. H is for helpline. Call Childline. If you feel you can't speak to a parent or teacher, they will listen and offer you help. I is for ice. Cool down, have an ice cream or a cold shower to lower your temperature to help keep your body and mind calm. J, joke. Find something to make you laugh. K, keep a scrapbook of the places you have been and things you have done. It will remind you of happy times and of your achievements, things to be proud of and feel good about. L, list 3 things you can hear, 3 things you can see, 3 things you can touch. This will help you to focus your mind on the present moment, the here and now. M is for music. Listen to your favorite music. N is for nurture. Look after yourself by making sure you eat and drink. O, organize. Do one thing at a time. Tick things off a list so you can see how much you are getting done. P is for pets. Spend time looking after and playing with an animal. They are great for cuddles. Q, quiet time. Keep things calm and peaceful around you. R, relax. It's important and okay to take a break. How do you like to chill out? S is for support networks. Who's around you that you can lean on for support? Friends, family, teachers, youth clubs, helplines? T, try something new. Try an activity or a hobby you haven't done before. You might find something you enjoy and are good at. You use your talent and strengths. Focus on what you do well and do more of it. This will build your confidence. V is for visualize. Picture your calm or happy place. Maybe you could draw it and put it somewhere to help you focus on other thoughts and images. W, write it down. Keep a diary or blog. Get it out of your mind and onto paper. X is for Xbox. It's okay to have downtime and have fun. Y, you can do it. Positive self-talk can help you believe in yourself. Well done, keep going. Z, sleep on it. Sometimes things feel better when we have a good night's sleep. If you want to find out more, get in touch.
So that was the video. I wanted to thank everyone for attending and being part of this program. Again, we will have this has been recorded, and we will have this available on our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions about that, you can always rewatch this. Again, you can reach out to your counselor. Any questions that you have, just let us know. And I hope that this was informative and helpful for you.
That concludes our presentation this morning. So thank you again, everyone, for attending.